Some of the brothers and sisters had been asking how not to be influenced by anything. Because when we are influenced, it's the influence on intellect and influence on mind. Then we don't really feel very comfortable, we don't feel powerful. And we feel a kind of shadow, not very natural and normal. Because even sometimes we are not experiencing our stage of perfection or stage of very good yogi life sometimes, but actually within each one of us that stage is there. Our final stage is within the self, only we have to emerge it. In one of the Murli recently, Baba had said, you all have everything in you, but it is in the merged form. And you all should emerge it. And because it is merged, that's where the discomfort comes. If that final stage was not within the self, and if you do something which is not right or think of something which is not right, you still will be happy, but you are not happy. Why you are not happy is because the being, that perfect being in you rejects it and say, no, you can't do this, you can't think like this. But of course we have to see that that perfect being or the final stage becomes my day-to-day experience, or it should come into the emerged form. We had been paying lot of attention on thoughts, that we shouldn't have wasteful thoughts, we shouldn't have negative thoughts. And I know that negative thoughts might be 2 out of 100, or they are more. Because they don't come all the time, no? Like one is to get upset and to be disturbed. One is, I'm going to kill you. How many of us get that thought? I'm going to destroy you. Even if there is disagreement and confrontation, but still somewhere deeply we say, I still have good wishes for you. Because since few years Baba has taught us this lesson, and we all have accepted this lesson that whether karma is at confluence age for a while agrees with each other or not, but at least you all should have good wishes for each other. So we have good practice of having good wishes. So negative thoughts really means thoughts, within these 5 vices, when they are extreme. Like one is to have a very subtle influence of body consciousness. Other is just this thought comes to get into action of body consciousness in lustful way. It could be anger, greed. As I said, negative thoughts are less, but wasteful thoughts are a lot. So we had been paying attention now to get rid of wasteful thoughts. Because we don't have, one of the things I found within 2-3 years, I have been able to have, quite minimum wasteful thoughts, I should say, as compared to every time, is because I don't have time. I tell my thoughts, you don't have time. Why don't you do something? There is so much to do, so much to read, so much to learn, so much to write. So it becomes habit after some time not to waste thoughts because it takes time. And I always say, I can't give you time, so you have to be brief. So after some time they don't come. But I don't know how many of you have really worked on intellect. As I said, we are obviously working on thoughts. But the reasoning or the points of knowledge or power of yoga has to be received by intellect. So intellect has to tell the mind. Intellect has to convince the mind. Or intellect has to give something very beautiful to the mind that mind says, yes, well, I accept it. So intellect has to work in a way that, like yesterday you all had session on Murli, that it's like from deep within that reasoning, a very good point comes, and it will take, it's very, very quick then to come out of any situation mentally. But when intellect doesn't work properly, there is not proper reasoning, and that means there is influence. So we should always think that we need influence of knowledge, influence of love of Baba, influence of remembrance of Baba on my intellect. Because these are the best influences, isn't it? Just imagine that if someone's reasoning is not, I must say, logical according to knowledge. You could be logical in your own way, but when we listen and we say, this is not Brahmin logic, it doesn't look like Brahmin's reasoning. So there is also influence from what we call it Shudra sanskars, no? That's why the intellect's reasoning is not Brahmin reasoning, because there is still influence of Shudra sanskar, or sometimes Vaishya sanskars, copper age sanskars, sometimes silver aged sanskars. So all these sanskars from time to time try to influence our intellect. So what should we do? Means, if you look at, I know in India, if they clean twice a day, it's a need. Maybe in Western countries we don't need that much dusting, but here anytime you go, you need to dust. No, you go into your room, you have to, wherever you sit, you have to dust it, because that much cleaning is required. So first dust which I feel influences the intellect is really from one's own sanskars. So you have to constantly clean it. You have to constantly dust your intellect to remove whatever little layer comes. May not be large, but little layers will always keep coming. Externally, we have limit to remain busy, but internally we should be constantly busy. In the sense of either you are churning knowledge, you are remembering Baba, imbibing divine virtues. It's necessary to be internally constantly busy, or even if you are quiet, the thought is, I want to accumulate power of silence. So then what happens that the past, the sanskars, when they are about to influence, it won't be much as you are cleaning all the time. So we understand what is clean intellect, but we don't clean all the time. And as I said, the methods is that even just, importance of listening to Murli every morning. What did Baba say? Anything I have to decide, you will find you will get answers from the same morning Murli. Baba would have said something or other where you can come out of that. Any kind of pollution, anything which has been adulterated in your intellect. So cleaning by using knowledge, as I said, cleaning by, sometimes if intellect is drawn towards, second kind of thing is that intellect is pulled. Intellect is drawn towards many things. my likings, my desires, or this one said it, that one said it. If we remember two things, that in today's world, we call this Iron Age, right? There is not a single soul who can give you something. And I say, because soul doesn't have anything. It's only Baba who can give us. So how can I be depending on any soul? Anything you say, I experience peace from this soul. But then if that soul does something, you will say, oh, I didn't know that I will also be disturbed with this soul. Because you were so dependent that you thought that peace will come only from this soul. But peace only comes from ocean of peace. So clean intellect also means that you know that you not allowing your intellect to go towards any human being. And one of the habit I find that comparison, we go into past a lot, we say, yesterday we all did like this, but today is different, no? So if you have really connection with Baba, you're not depending on yesterday's experience. So clean intellect to an extent that I am not invoking past. I'm not taking from the past, I'm taking from Baba all the time. You can make a long list of how many things really pollute our intellect, make our intellect weak. It depends where we are at, what kind of influences, as I said, could be pull of someone, any soul, it could be something, or sometimes we are so insecure. Because of insecurity, then our, something with the people, something with the material things, any kind of possession one has, acquiring, is really big insecurity, As much you internally become secure, then you say, well, why I need so many things? Because it takes a lot of time and energy, As many things you have, that many you have to take care of. And just imagine how much time, energy goes in that. So you have to see that where now, what kind of bondage is left for intellect, where intellect can go. So what the feelings are when intellect is clean? It's very, very light. You never feel burden of any kind. As soon as you feel burden, as soon as you feel stress, you feel pressure, immediately you should think that I'm holding something inside. This morning I was talking to many souls. So you get good news, you get middle kind of news, some you get not very good. Or certain things are right, certain are not right. And I find that if I have talked to 10, and after finished talking, if I feel little bit tired or restless, and I knew that's only one news, which was not pleasant out of 10, if that stays, there is even little bit of that, there is an impact on the intellect. So what one has to do to have clean intellect is to have a very, very good attitude Because attitude is the broom to clean the intellect. In the sense of just seeing things in a way that this is this one's way. Or deeply within why Baba had been saying, one of the practice Baba gave us was sit in Paramdham and be merciful on all souls. We thought, okay, we have to be in subtle regions. And now being in Paramdham, you remember that Murli? It was second Murli or third Murli. Baba said, be in Paramdham and also be merciful. So how can you be merciful in Paramdham? That means eternally we all are different. Eternally we all are different. And one of the lessons we have learned, that never try to make anyone like you, because it's very interesting to allow everyone to do what they feel like doing and see what their part is. Then thinking, no, you should do this way, you should do this way, and soul won't do anyway. So I'm just giving example, but if you have right attitude, then there won't be burden on the intellect. I'm just saying that burden, if intellect feels burden of any kind, whether it's with the work, in relationships, in service, even in service, if there is any time this feeling of, why I have to do it? Why so much? Why me? Because you are feeling heavy, no? You are feeling the burden. And when there is burden, then there is no joy, there is no happiness. Then you keep doing it, but there is no fun of doing. It's like you are being pushed to do something, or sense of responsibility makes you do it, but there is not happiness. So when intellect is clean, intellect is very light. Second, intellect is very free. You will be surprised that dadis are so busy, but their intellect is still free. That's how they receive Baba's signals. Otherwise, as much they are busy, they won't even, how can you remember Baba? You don't have a minute even to drink water. Some days we look at Dari Janki, she doesn't have a moment until 3 afternoon. But I can see that she is free, her intellect is free because the way her intellect works. And that's why the third word I used was connected. You just feel that she's so connected with us and also with Baba. So no heaviness, no pull. And clean intellect means it can go beyond quickly. Let it go, it's past. Let's go beyond. That was last minute. How quickly you can come out. But if intellect is not clean, Baba gave one example, many times he gives in Murli, which is good example Baba always gives, that Baba comes and he takes this insect from the dust, rubbish. But you bring the insect up to a certain point, and if you leave it, it will go back. Because it has such a habit to be in rubbish that automatically start going back there. So if intellect is not clean, it's very easy to go back in rubbish of any kind. So there are many, many souls who have this habit of, living in the past, talking about past, making their decisions on the past. Every moment is different and every moment is present, then it has future. So why to put past in that? Let's put future in it than the past. No? So there are many, many benefits to keep intellect clean. As I said, it will be light. And it will have freedom. You all have experienced what is happiness of mind. But I think what is the biggest experience is when Baba says that when your intellect is completely free, the experience of fruition, Jivan Mukti. I find that experience of Jivan Mukti is really when your intellect is free. You live in the life, but you are free from all bondages. And then automatically what happens is a clean intellect, something which is clean, will be clear, isn't it? Now, clarity can be very much seen into how you decide about things. Because if you have decided and you go back and forth in what you have decided, that means you are not clear. So clear intellect, like clear lines, clear telephone lines means what? When you have line clear, what happens? First, you immediately could get call, and second is that you can communicate well. A clear intellect is a good communicator. It's very easy to talk to that person, communicate with that person very easily. Because there is no confusion. But sometimes some souls have these sanskars. Even little change happens, they get confused. For every little thing, I am very confused. So instead, then they say, oh, I want clear intellect, but they never think I need a clean intellect. Because the result of clean intellect is clear intellect. I remember that when some souls say things, we all say things. But you can immediately know that if sanskars are mixed in whatever we are saying, one is of knowledge, but even otherwise, some souls you can see that they very particularly behave based on their sanskars, not necessarily with their qualities. Some people always, their behavior is based on qualities, respect, love, honesty. And some you can very strongly see their sanskars until now in Brahmin life. One of the example we give of Brahma Baba, that we never saw in him the sanskars from his past. Because sanskars are from past, no? But we always saw he's saying what Baba said. He's doing what Baba said. That's why he reminded us of Baba, no? If he was living life based on sanskars, wouldn't have been right example. So that's one of the things we should always remind ourselves. Am I still living based on sanskars, or I am living based on divine virtues, qualities all the time? All the time always think, am I using qualities or am I using sanskars? When you are using sanskars, then you can keep settling karmas. Whole confluence age could pass. You might need another 2 confluence age, still they won't finish. Really, honestly, when you think, we say we have to settle for 63 births. But settling can also happen very quietly, without being aware. You have bank account, right? And if you have to pay off certain things, these days must be in other countries too, your all bills can be paid directly from bank. You don't have to write checks. And there could be some people always writing bills, no? Or there are some they don't want to pay, so they keep delaying. So we all have settling, but what we saw in Brahma Baba's life was excellent example that how quietly everything was being settled, because he was living a Brahmin life, life of God's child, life of instrument. And they don't require sanskars, they require virtues. And then one thing is that if, for anything I have noticed, that if there is a desire, so what is the difference between a pure thought and desire? Because after all you will get a thought, no? So sometimes some souls say, how do I know this is my desire or this is a right thought? Let's say if we having meeting, if we sit and talk together, everyone shares ideas. Some ideas are immediately taken upon and say we can implement them, and some ideas, some or other, they are not considered much. And if you are hurt about it, it's me, whenever I say, nobody really does anything based on that. So you start getting discouraged. Now that's your attachment with your idea actually. That's your desire. Otherwise, as soon as you give idea, you should be so detached. And as much you are detached, it has power in it. When you are attached, some people will definitely say, shouldn't happen. Or will provoke others also in some negative way. And they will say, why this one's, why not mine? That's why we say that our lives should not create any negativity, whether it's jealousy or competition, but it should inspire everyone. So if we have desires, then intellect can be really clear intellect. And then clear intellect is also required for Baba's work, no? Most of our skills really, whether it's management, whether it's your administration, whether it's how you really take care of everything, that also requires a clear intellect. This is clear intellect is like your own inner voice from your stage of perfection. And when you do it, you feel so good. You know, one thing I've seen, even if I've answered one email or 20 or as many, but after doing it, you feel very happy if it's done from the clear intellect. Not only that, but clear intellect has capacity to learn. And if intellect is not clear, then you can't learn. You just do what you always had been doing. And one of the things in our lives, if we do not change every hour, honestly, sometimes even every minute, if you do not change, we are in trouble. Because the way the world is changing, expectations from us, the people's expectation from us are so much that unless we change, we can't fulfill their expectations. I give you example that if I go to Harmony House and I'd say similar kind of thing which I would have said to a similar situation, I don't think anyone will enjoy me. But I go and I see similar situation and I say, I'm not going to say, I will find some other way to resolve it. Because if it would have helped by saying I said, So then I think what to do. Always find some new method. So no one say, now Sister Mohini has come, she's going to say this. And they think now she will say and I won't say. Or if they will say she is going to notice, that's the day I ignore it and I say, no, I'm not going to waste my time. So change, I find, helps you to have self-respect and good relationships too. Because if your act repeats, their act repeats, what's the difference? You're telling someone you always do that, and she could say, but you always say that too. So where is my self-respect? So our, constant change, transformation with the work and within the family in relationship comes from clean intellect, because you are not attached to even what you are. Because one of the attachment is one's own personality, because this is the way I am. People say, that's what I am. No, that's not what I am. Maybe next minute I will be different. So these changes which we need to bring constantly within us comes only from clean intellect, because it reflects in you and you say, no, this is the right way to do. So as I said, that anywhere we go, whether you go to center or anywhere you go, that totally the atmosphere of center, administration of center, the way things are done depends on clean intellect, isn't it? Because clean intellect will not miss anything. If someone says, oh, I didn't realize, I need to remember this, I need to do this. Clean intellect, in other words, also is a whole intellect, no? Like we talk about holistic approach, in the same way, whole intellect means it has all the qualifications. Like intellect is willpower, intellect is determination, intellect has power to discern, power to remember, memory. Memory is part of intellect. To remember right thing at the right time, it is from the clean intellect. To remember things at the wrong time disturbs your intellect, but to remember something at the right time. Like someone was going to retreat place and said, can we get a little kettle boiling water, something? And so sister said, we don't have. So I said, no, we have. They said, no, we don't have. I said, yeah, 3 days before this place, you were saying there is something like that. She said, how do you remember? I said, we're not worse than computers, no? You press whichever key you press, it shows that, no? Why can't our memories? You will be surprised that everyone will forget, but I will remember what is in the house. And they will say, no, we don't have it. I said, okay, go, look at this place. If you don't find, then come back. Because if you, really I find with clean intellect, it's good for our memory also. Like you have telephone. In telephone you have memory, of numbers. But if you press one and you get other number, that shouldn't happen. So clear intellect is our success. You don't look at these and say they are like only good minds, but they are the best intellects also. Because their intellect remembers at the right time, right? It emerges right thing, whether it's for physical, whether even for spiritual. I'm not using word clever and sharp intellect, but I'm saying intellect which works very well. comfortably, naturally, not that you feel pressure also, because some then start feeling pressure. And most important thing is that you are so happy if you have clear intellect. One thing is because you are always clear. Clear, in other words, also there is nothing you haven't finished doing. Now when you say my desk is clear, that means you have cleared everything. So clearing everything, in other words, also is not keeping anything pending. And that's why I'm connecting with clean intellect, because clean, in rubbish you are holding. There is something still not finished. Settling of sanskars, this, that, ill feelings or bad feelings for anyone or bad thoughts, all that helps to have clean intellect, means I am clear now. What is custom clearance? So you are clear. So clear doesn't only mean because there are two aspects I wanted to talk about clarity. One is because your vision is very clear. Some were saying why it happens that some people take something, little work or big work, but they are always able to accomplish it and some not. I said because they never make time to make a vision, whether of their own life or for others or for the work. A good instrument will have vision for the self, for the family, for the center, and for unlimited task. So vision really comes from clear intellect. If you do not have clear intellect, you don't have a vision. You have dreams. You could be elusive. Elusive in the sense of very enthusiastic, very excited, and next minute, I don't want to do it. But last you wanted to do so much, and what happened now? It goes flat, no? So clear intellect means clear vision. I can see very clearly what I am today, what I have to become, what others need. Clear vision of whatever. And I'm telling you, once you have clear vision, everything is very easy. It's only when we do not have vision, anything you arrange a program, you do something and you do not have clear vision, that's where we get stuck. No, even when you are driving and there is no visibility, you can have a very high-speed car, but it doesn't matter. You can't go, there's no visibility. So clear intellect is like your vision, visibilities. You can just go. And as I said, that makes it very easy. And also, that's where you can also be very, one of the quality of intellect also is very prompt, it's not that can't, be at that moment, because you get 1 second sometimes. Baba also says, within one moment, within 1 second, be like that. To say yes or no, to commit to something. It's really just 1 second. So clarity from point of view of a vision and clarity from point of view of doing, I am clear in the sense of my whole, whatever I have responsibility is always clear. And of course clarity is understanding also in a way. This person has very clear understanding. Clear intellect has a good understanding. Some people take so long to understand. Not only that, but when they repeat it, it's a completely different. That's the biggest problem in today's community. You say something and it's understood completely different. And you always think it's a mistake of others. I was telling you this. So one thing I have at least taken responsibility in my life is that every time I find that communication didn't work, understanding didn't work, I always say, maybe I didn't say properly. Maybe I was mixed with other ideas, but I never say, you are the one who never understand. But that could always happen, but I can't do anything about it. What can I do about your understanding? I can do something with my understanding. I can improve that or sort out and say what is the best way to communicate. You must have heard, no? When they teach self-management, they say that a good leader, after speaking, will say, did I make it clear? Or otherwise, ordinary boss will say, did you all understand what I say? Because he thinks what I say is always understood. Otherwise, if boss is a good leader, will say, do you think, did I make it clear? So this is how there is great importance of clear intellect. Now it comes to connectedness. We live in the world, we are aware of everything. We are connected with Lokik world, we are connected with spiritual world, we are connected with current affairs, we are connected. So what should I do that I am not influenced, but I am connected? People know that I am connected, but I am not one of them. Like people meet in the plane or somewhere and they say, oh, we got very connected. So they become friends, they keep writing to each other, and then one day there is a big influence. But you can remain very connected, but also very, very detached. Connectedness means lovely relationships, friendly relationships. But connected doesn't mean that if you don't call me, then I miss you, and then if you don't hear from me, you say, oh, I was very sad. And you shouldn't avoid connectedness too, because that's what we do. Service means what? Making connections, no? You want to go and meet this one, meet that one, meet that one. So creating more connections is service. And people should also feel that you are a person. There is honesty in relationships. You can remain connected. But in that being connected, there is nothing to be attached about. Then the benefit of that is, whenever you will make call, I am giving example, let's say for me, honestly, I don't know if it's right or not, but I get so many calls, I hardly make call because there is, it's always you are on call. So unless I have something very important, but I don't have habit of dialing much, but I have habit of holding phone all the time. But whenever I call, I'm just giving examples, I will sit and I will say, oh, I need to call this one. And that is always a right time when those souls need a call. Even I give example with my Lokik family or centers I have stayed in India. I'm sitting there and I just, 3 months I wouldn't have thought, and I said, no, I want to call. And I call, they say, whenever we are in trouble, I don't know how you come to know, and you call. So it's a service in that. It's a support they get or strength they get the time they need it. And that's also, I don't make it a habit to keep calling. I call because I know that that's when souls need. Like if I haven't heard from them or... So your connection will be of service. Connection will be that you give whatever you need. whether it's through telephone or anything. So connectedness also, as I said, it doesn't become a habit. I must call this one every day, or this one must call me every day. You can never, honestly, with any soul, if you have that connection, you can never have connection, which is most important, is with Baba. Only one connection I have, which I want to connect all the time, is Baba. And if that is there, then whichever soul, even I remember once in Delhi we were there was a situation, and I was sitting and I just called one of the minister, I said, let me call, there was something. You will be surprised, he received call and said, oh yeah, it's good, everything, you come, why don't we meet, sort out this. Every call works. I can tell you every call works, because I believe also that if I have spent 20 cents or 30 cents of Baba's money and my phone call didn't give any return for service, I won't like to take that burden of spending 30 cents. Where will I pay off from? It's easy to use money, but when it comes to settling, it's quite a lot. So I am never, as I was telling you, that if you ask telephone exchanger, they say she makes maximum calls with minimum expense. My bills are lowest because I call, I talk, within few minutes, whatever we have to talk, we talked. So if then connection with Baba, clarity of intellect and clean, it's both ways. If you cannot clean on your own, then take this process. If you find your intellect is not clean, then connect with Baba. So clarity will come. And then you will see what I need to clean, because sometimes we don't know even what needs to be cleaned. So if connection is missing with Baba, or when you are at service, why doctors walk with their beepers? Today everyone walks with beeper, even truck drivers have beepers. But before, it used to be important people, especially people needed in emergency, used to have beepers, no? So beeper means what? So we all have our beeper, isn't it? It's wireless, but so first connection with Baba. If there is any disturbance in connection, you should immediately know that my intellect is not clear and it's not clean. So either start cleaning intellect and get the connection, and if you have connection, use that connection to see if my intellect is clear. I'm honestly saying some people like to do wrong things because they don't know maybe it's wrong and keep saying sorry for it. We shouldn't have sanskars of regrets. We shouldn't do things that I have to say sorry. Doesn't mean it's arrogance, but it's awareness. Why should I have this habit of making mistakes and then saying sorry? It becomes such a normal thing for people then to just do it and then say sorry, then again do it, then say sorry. If you have clear intellect, connection with Baba, you will know what is right. Because as I did mention, it's also deeply within the attitude, Or sometimes certain things are done, it doesn't sound, they're not proper. And I'm saying even if they are not mistakes, but they're not proper. But that also is not pleasant, no? If something is not accurate, something is not proper. And that's where when Baba says that when you have connection with Baba, you can correct the self. self-correction happens. Then no one else would want to correct you because they won't see the need. Whenever we came to Madhuban, after Baba, you know that Didiji was in charge, and Didiji used to sit and give us drishti before we get into cars and taxis. And generally, like, I remember when I came young, in the end, before leaving Madhuban, she will say, I want to bring these few points in your attention and pay attention to these. I said, okay, Didi, we will do it. And after a few years, when like I'm taking leave from Didi, I said, Didi, I want to do these 2-3 things for this year. She used to feel so happy. She said, this is what I wanted to say you. But deities don't let even words be spoken. Why somebody even has to tell me if I am able to understand what I need? And I felt so good, you know. And since then I always remember that when I am about to leave Madhuban, what I need to do. I can sit in Baba's room. It's not necessary that Dadi has to tell me every time, Sister Moini, just pay a little more attention to these things. Or one time, a few years ago, I came and 2 months I stayed and I never sat with Dadiji, and then I said, Dadi, but I also had a situation. Wanted to talk, can you give me a few minutes? She said, no, your situation, never. Don't believe it. I said, I have one. She said, no, you can never have it. I just took it as a blessing. I said, okay. And after that, some or other, the power to resolve comes so much. When I come here, I don't have situation. Or it's just you know what to do with it. So connection is self-correction. You know how to improve, where to improve, what to do. Then it will not happen that somebody will say, but you shouldn't have done this, that was not right. Even as I said, may not be a mistake, but kind of funny things. You know, sometimes we all do funny things. Funny in the sense they look a little strange, you know. And you say, well, I wanted, it was my desire. Means you are positive, you're not doing it from bad intention, but they don't look strange, no? So that also is something is lacking in the self. We are becoming deities, we are God's children, and we should be so accurate. We shouldn't be seen like, oh, I had desire, that's why I went there, I had desire, that's why I wanted to be. No, never be pulled by these things. Always do appropriate, accurate, right things so that others look at, see, it's such a balance. That is something very, very important. So connectedness in service is important. If I am not aware of how I can help or what helps anyone need, that means I live in my own world, no? Or live for my own self, but which is not true. Live for Baba's service. So we are detached and we are lovely, but also we are connected. I mean, that's why one thing in New York or wherever I stay, I don't know about, must be with other RCOs, I never have answering machine on my phone. One time, 12:30, many times a time, when Brother Nirvair called and said, then I said, you know, I didn't say anything, but he realized that it's late. He said, oh, sorry, you know, I forgot about time difference, all that, but it was very important. I said, okay, it's all right. Or there could be any time, any situation. Never have answering machine because I am on God's call, no. If I cannot help anyone, even if it's midnight, And no one in the house takes night call. Only I take, because I know who they will call for me, who else they will call for. So why should someone else has to get up and then they have to give me phone? It's recently I have not put, it's always near my bed I keep phone, because if anyone needs help, that's why a person will call, no? Doesn't happen that often, but sometimes overseas calls or... And it's not that one feels pressure or anything, but just deeply within that I am meant for service to the world, service to the family, if anyone needs something. Otherwise, normally after 9:30, I don't take business calls. I always say no business calls. If you have to call for something to discuss, I don't mind 4:45 in the morning after Amrit Vela, because a lot of souls call me 4:45 and 5, but not before sleeping, because I want to be with Baba. So after 9:30 I just say, no, maybe little, but no business call. And there are some souls, they keep talking with others, they get into things, and then they sleep, and then in the morning what will be the state? Or listening to the news at night time, or getting up, it's not good, because one thing, as I always find, that like keeping information, knowing things, but not allowing intellect to be influenced. Otherwise your intellect gets so preconditioned that what Baba wants to tell you, the way Baba wants to give you signals, you won't be able to do it. So never allow intellect to be conditioned by any information, any information. Before, like, people used to always, this evening is going to be snowstorm. One person always used to say, I said, can you stop doing that? Because if I have to go, I will still go. And it always happens some or other, it doesn't snow. Say, but what happened? So we keep changing plans. So whether it is weather, whether it is what is going to happen in the world, we know. Little bit of, okay, information is there. But if you condition it, then what you should be doing, you will not be able to do it. So you should rather say, whatever is going to happen, I will face it. But I don't want, not allow your intellect to be conditioned by anything. That's something very, very important, because clean intellect also means, like, I don't ever read books as books, because even a lot of people send me, I read one page, then I say, oh my goodness, it's never completed a book for years. But even little things, if it is needed to be read, but I immediately say, that's only information and I am this. Don't want my mind and intellect to work on, based on that. Our mind and intellect should be based on what Baba said in the Murli. That's why before sleeping, it's always good to revise, may not be from notebook, but just go through what was today's dharana point. Like with me, I always read next morning's Murli before sleeping, always. And I always wake up in the morning with the feelings. Even Thursday morning when I will sit with Baba, and then you have such a clear connection when you read Murli, you feel that 80% of Murli you were experiencing at Amrit Vela, even before listening sometimes. Such should be clear connection. And the joy which comes from that makes you feel very, very contented in your life, very contented. And someone said, what is contentment? I say, life which contains something. Empty life can't be contentment, no? They say, what are the contents of the book? Then people buy the book, no? Whatever are your contents in it, what you store within yourself, that brings contentment in the life. So I feel at this time, especially for this year, in Madhuban we should just say, clean intellect, yes. As I said, dust will come. You don't have to worry with that. What can you do? Can you close intellect if you don't want? Like someone said, I don't want dust and I just want all windows, closed doors. But you need air too, no? So you have to keep open intellect. But when you see the dust, just clean it. So that's why I would just revise, constant cleaning is important. Not fear of dust, but effort of, it's not effort, it's a habit. Like some people, we have to eat food, we go and wash hands. It's a habit. Because it's hygienic, it's good, fresh. Eating Brahma Bhojan. So cleaning intellect should become a habit. You will find that, oh, I love this, you say sometimes. And then you say, no, I have to be clean. So all the time there will be dust and all the time you have to clean. So don't get tired. Love cleaning. Those who love cleaning, you see, look at them. Their hands doesn't stop. Those who don't love cleaning, again it got dirty. They're always tired. Without cleaning they are tired. Just looking at dust they are tired. But those who love cleaning, they say, it takes a minute, let's wipe it, it's clean. So I would just say, love cleaning. And second is, remain clear. Don't let intellect be clouded with anything. Very light, very happy. And third is, remain connected. If you are connected, you can never be late. That's one point is, connected person is never late, it's very punctual, in the sense of very timely. When whatever service is needed, if you don't do it now, when you do it after, maybe it's not needed. When it's needed, do it. So very timely, when you are clear, you are timely, you are appropriate, you are accurate. So connectedness. With Baba, with family. So I feel that if we work on intellect, the support of mind and intellect together. We had been working a lot on mind, but we need to work on our intellect also. And of course, the last thing is to work on sanskars. And I found it very simple. Last year, few of us were sitting and having discussion, and a very good point came up. What should be my sanskars like? What should be in my sanskars? My sanskars should be godly sanskars. That's it. Where is question of my sanskars? Godly sanskars. So godly sanskars, calm mind and clear intellect. And that's the definition of true yogi also, or God's child, godly sanskar. So as soon as any sanskar emerge, you should ask, are you godly? Says no, go. No? Only godly sanskars allowed, no other sanskar. But we sometimes permit them by saying, oh, after all, I have sanskars of 63 births. But you belong to Baba. Maybe he has taken away all those sanskars. But we invoke them by saying, what to do after all, these are sanskars of 63 births. So, okay, sit with them. We don't want to sit with them. We want to sit with godly sanskars. So godly sanskars and calm mind. Mind shouldn't really, it should be so calm and peaceful. Someone yesterday said one quality for me which I never thought I would. Said, you have a lot of patience. I said, really? I didn't know that. So they were saying even somebody is rushing, when they look at you could stop. So I said, oh, that's a great thing to know. But I definitely know that may not be patience in the way of, but whatever, for me the calmness and peace of mind, as long I can remain calm, even doing things doesn't matter. You don't need to lose calmness of mind. And gift which I appreciate from Baba, and I always keep it with me, Baba, I want this gift, it's clear intellect. What you have to do in 15 minutes, you do it in 3 minutes. Because it's so clear. Then you use another 12 minutes to do something more, no? And as I said, connectedness is, think more about it. And this year, I think this will be our wireless set. You will get right calls, right messages, right signals, and really you will just feel so happy and saying, oh, that's great. And you will have more and more self-trust, because you will know that you're right, thoughts are right, everything is so appropriate and right. And there will be a lot of self-trust and self-respect. Because self-trust and self-respect, which comes spiritually, really comes from your own improvements, your own, what you are, what you're becoming. And influence is, it's not as I said, they will come. It's not they will not come, but you keep cleaning. Don't worry about how never to be influenced. After influence, there is another word, is impressed. I was very impressed by this thing. So we are not influenced. We might be influenced and also impressed, but we will come out of both. But it shouldn't happen to an extent that your thoughts, your words, your action, everything has gone based on influence. No. If you're cleaning inside all the time, it won't reach up to level of words or actions, no, it won't. So when I'm saying that it will happen, doesn't mean that you go all the way and say, oh sorry, I did under influence. No, doing is very last stage if you are cleaning all the time. And to see, cleaning means clear, and clear means good connection. Yes, clear? Yeah, because it should be clear, no? If it's clear, that means it's clear. Yeah? So now we will sit with Baba, churn on some of the aspects, and experience all 3 stages. Clean intellect is very restful, because it's not wandering. Your intellect is with you and it can go to Baba. And there is such a little difference between mind and intellect, no? Both are thoughts. But one is thought of initiative, and other could be thought of helping to sort out sometimes. But intellect also has creativity, its own creativity. Like mind has creativity, intellect has creativity too. But our intellect is based on truth and wisdom. Same are our thoughts, so it's different. Om Shanti.